my prediction.
Damn, that's dark.
That is dark.
Wow. So loser
Yeah, what is going on here? What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the DMV Nuggets podcast. Let's go. Presented as always by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Fellas, it feels like we were just here.
Fellas.
The only guy left. I've been here for some time.
In all sincerity, you did leave 12 hours ago. And presumably slept in between then and now?
It's hard to remember.
It's hard to remember. Nonetheless, we did, despite all odds, plan a fantastic show for you tonight. Why? Because we're going to have a little Hangover Takes. Day after, we're going to hear from Mr. Harrison Wind, who was not part of the show yesterday, so we're going to get his insight. We're going to hear from Brendan Vogt, who went to the arena, he split some time, so we'll get updated there. And then, of course, fresh eyes. I have some apologies to make on this very show.
Oh my God, I've been waiting. Can we just go there first?
Us?
Hold
Not
on.
to address to us?
Are we recording this?
Wait, was it a contentious winners lounge last night?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
We are going to play Fear Factor later on, you guys.
Dude.
Am I gonna?
Is Joe Rogan coming on?
I know.
Joe Rogan's going to be here.
He's not actually. He declined.
Do we have to eat stuff?
We're also going to play a new game, you guys, where we rank things on a scale of 1 to 10.
We
We
haven't
say
done
what we feel about
anything.
things.
Yeah, that's how we say.
breakthrough stuff.
And then later on, a little Stonk Report around the association. My God, it's going to be
Playing the
action-packed. To help me do it, live from Ithaca College, it's Brendan Vogt.
Another good day to be a bomber, fellas. Another great day to be in studio.
How did that nickname not get canceled years
It's
ago?
unbelievable. I think they
Crazy.
really
Out
just
of all
mean
the things that have
like
gotten
bombs.
canceled, the Ithaca Bombers are still a thing.
It's
Still a thing, man.
unbelievable. Oh, man.
Over here, Comandante D-Line.
What? Let's go.
You don't think you look a little bit like Che Guevara here? Does anybody else see it? You don't see it?
I can see, like, if you would have said, like, it's John Lame or something, I would.
What?
Like John Wayne.
It just looks like you're
Like a Western.
Yeah, you look like you've been fighting.
I'm about to start fighting.
And then over there, the man himself, Harrison Wind.
Good to be back, fellas. I missed you guys last night, but I was definitely glad I was at the game. I don't regret not being on the show.
That's like the new year, new me, but same me. Right. I missed you guys, but also made the right decision not to see you. Kale, it's time for the hangover. Drum roll, please. The best grab. How did you not have this queued up? It was literally on the rundown of what we're doing here.
He just had to get the
first
numbers.
goddamn thing of the show, Kale. There it is.
There.
My goodness. All right, just so you know, Kale,
Well,
Fear Factor,
Kale's
scale of
hungover.
1 to 10, Stonk Report around the association. That's the order today.
Why? So wait, is this what you're going to be apologizing
Yeah.
for?
Kale, I'm sorry.
You couldn't apologize before because you
I'm
hadn't
sorry.
done it yet.
I got a
Add that
little.
one
I
to
got
the
a little
list.
incensed at that one, and I might have lost my cool. When you were at the game last night, we didn't get your takes, man. We shared a bunch. What is just give us your big takeaway from the game?
Well, just from being at the arena, like my big takeaway was game 2 felt entirely differently from game 1. Just the atmosphere at the arena. Game 1, it was like, all right, playoffs. Like, let's see what's going to happen. There was a little nervous energy. There was obviously a ton of excitement. Game 2, it wasn't the intense atmosphere that game 1 had. That was like my first takeaway being at the game. It was interesting from that respect, and maybe it contributed to the third quarter swoon that the Nuggets had.
How so?
Because it just didn't feel like as intense. The environment didn't feel as intense. Maybe that made the Nuggets let down a little bit. I don't know. But that was just like my overall takeaway from the environment of the game. It wasn't just that like you could cut the intensity with a knife, kind of feel that game 1 had.
What do you think you would attribute that to? This is anyone, like Wednesday.
The game and a half that happened.
Yeah.
Do you think it was just like
I-
not that compelling?
I think it looked briefly like,
Oh, dude,
it's
we
going
were-
to be this easy.
We were like all, like, we
Yeah.
totally let our guard down. We were like, and then we're like, oh, God damn it.
But that's fun. To me, this is where it's different. Like, to me, that's where you'd think you'd get the most loud. We're clowning them, this or that. But I don't know, maybe a little
Well,
lower
I will
energy.
say in game 1, by the fourth quarter, it was a little bit of like they hit the NOS tank already.
Right,
and like, they
right.
were like, okay, what do we do now? Do we just like sit on our hands? And so I think there's a little bit of that. To the crowd's credit, in the fourth quarter, everyone turned
the
it
fourth
around.
quarter, like it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I mean, my other takeaway is just watching Jamal Murray in the playoffs is special. Like watching that guy orchestrate and just go off like he now is building a reputation of doing in the playoffs is incredible. I mean, it's
Because
unbelievable to witness live.
he's a predator in the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
He plays like a predator. He doesn't always play that way. He just kind of plays like, one of the guys or this or like he's out there. But the reason I buy it so much, because the shot making is one thing, right? And I think you could say, well, he's just having a hot streak. But the thing is he's in attack mode at all times. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And he's great in attack mode.
He's in attack mode, but he also just plays with this sense of calm in the most high intensity moments in the playoffs. And like, you're nervous watching the game. Like, I'm nervous watching the game. I'm sure you guys are. But you never get the sense like Jamal Murray is nervous and in those moments has any thought of just second guessing himself. Like, he's always just confident and just super deliberate in his approach, and just like he's like, I'm gonna take this basketball and I'm gonna take Mike Conley and put him in the mix and step back and score and make a three right here. Like, that's what's
Right.
gonna happen. He's never, there's no hesitancy with Jamal Murray in those moments, and like, that's what makes him so incredible.
Agreed, man. Do you remember when we looked at each other, the stop and turn around jumper he hit where he turns over his shoulder?
Alexander Walker.
Yeah, like sometimes in the regular season that looked clunky and labored, that same exact move. It was so graceful.
Yeah.
It was so on point. And when that same shot goes up in February, I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
In the playoffs last night, I was like, oh, that's in.
Yeah.
These are all going in.
Yeah.
What about you, D-Line? Do you have any takes, through fresh eyes this morning?
I mean, it is remarkable. It's most of what we're seeing is kind of what we expected and we've been talking about playing out. Like, we expect Jamal Murray to step up in the playoffs. We expect the Nuggets to lock in. And it's just like, it feels like comfortable. Like, I was telling you last night, like, this hasn't quite like flipped into it feeling like a full playoff to me yet, because I always associate playoffs with like extreme nervousness for 2 hours and like not being able to eat. And like, I was eating a hamburger live on the internet, I'll order one right now. No problem. Like, it's pretty wild. Like, the Nuggets have, they have elevated. They have like, we've really,
They really brought it in.
They really have, it's time to bring it in. Bring it in. They have. No, it's just, this is the, this is like the actual successor to the bubble. This playoff feels like where,
Right,
if we just forget, a wrinkle in time, we just fold over the last 2 years. Like, this should be where we should have been 2 years ago.
It's funny because the Nuggets haven't, they keep going to 7-game series, so we have this thing in us, but they also, underrated, have won 3 games in a row twice in the playoffs, which is also not nothing. I know we're like almost starting to fudge logic here, but we do know that when the Nuggets reach their gear that they can look really freaking good, and that's what we're seeing now. I said I had an apology to make. Not really an apology, guys. It's not that serious. Not that
Shocker.
serious.
Yeah, he's already
Backtracking here.
Hedging and apology.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Really sorry. I'm just saying, No, but, that third quarter really bothered me. And I think anybody following the show yesterday, it really tainted, I think, the way I looked at the game, the rest of the game, because it was so frustrating. And I think in some ways actually concerning. We'll get to how concerning maybe a little bit later on. But you can't over-index on that, especially when you do a show immediately afterwards. And even like we were doing the watch along, and it's like even during the watch along, this or that, you can get so frustrated by a trait in the Nuggets that is consistent from the regular season to now. And I would say, I'll go ahead and say it, a trait in Nikola Jokic that is probably his one real flaw is that he's not always playing hard. He does have a tendency to be like, oh, I can kick my feet up, I will. I can take a possession off, I will. I just noticed we had Broncos stuff on here. You notice that?
Nobody did, but
Nobody
now
did
everyone does.
until right now. But that was that's the thing with. Here we go. That's the
Make it
thing
snappy,
with.
Kill.
But the thing is that third quarter really, I don't think is more descriptive of what happened in that game. I actually think Jamal Murray is the most descriptive thing of that game, and secondarily, Michael Porter Jr. is the second biggest thing. And I think in the reaction to last night's show, I probably had that order a little out of whack. You go to bed, you wake up with fresh eyes, and you're like, what am What am I upset about? Jamal
Yeah.
Murray was awesome. Michael Porter was awesome.
You know, the worst part is we were telling you that last night. It didn't sink in. You
It didn't. It really didn't sink in.
And
from
he's
you
not
guys.
apologizing to you, just to be clear.
No, I know
I'm going to
that.
apologize to Eric.
The thing is, too, they rebounded. They covered, man. They came back and they won handedly. And I think we actually probably all would have preferred to watch the blowout. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to catch a little test and pass a little test. It's not the test, but all right. There's a little bit of that, the March stuff. I thought we had turned the page on this. How do they respond? They were fine. And also, I largely felt like a lot of what they were missing in that third quarter or throughout the first three quarters was Michael Porter Jr., who was on the bench with foul trouble. The second he
Man,
came
that's a
back
great
in,
take.
that game changed. So there were moments where it felt like something about the offense. I mean, it's fine, but it feels like they've got an arm behind their back or something. And that's what it was. He comes back in, they pull away. Jamal was tremendous. So I thought it was cool to see them just a little bump in the road. No worries.
And yet their offense was better in game 2 than it was in game 1, which
Right.
game 1 felt like the offense was fine. Like
Totally.
it was doing good things. So it is a little bit of a perspective warp, perhaps because the Nuggets won in a way that was not typical of them. Look, Murray's is not usually the best player. He just isn't.
In the playoffs, he usually is.
In the playoffs,
And even when we're including Michael Jordan in that conversation.
Right. I mean, the takeaway from last night is Jamal Murray is on track to become like one of the greatest playoff players in NBA history.
yeah.
He has the second highest percentage of 40-point games in the playoffs in his career, next to Michael Jordan. Like, this is the track he's on.
If only we would have had Michael Jordan.
This guy is a killer in the playoffs. Like, that's just what he has been so far. And we'll see what happens. But the fact is, he's on track to be an all-time great playoff player.
I do think, though, again, go negative Nancy here. I don't know that the Nuggets fully understand how to play with him as that guy. Because I think part of the lull in the third quarter came down to, I mean, look, I'm not trying to blame it on Murray. Jokic became extra passive, right? But that's what I mean is Murray is so rarely the version of himself he was in the second half of game 1 and all of game 2 that the team doesn't necessarily know, like, where does Michael Porter fit into that? Where does Jokic fit into that? They always play with Jokic as the pot stirrer and doing all these different things. And I do think that is one thing that they're going to have to learn, because as great as they played in quarters 1 and 2, you don't get away with quarter 3 against all teams. The Wolves just happen to not be that good, but other teams, if you blow a 15-point lead and you're down 2 going into the fourth, that's a death sentence, or it's at least your odds of winning it are significantly reduced.
To me, the third quarter happened because it's the Wolves, because
Maybe.
they were so far ahead. Because
maybe.
this team loves. I mean, listen, we keep talking about motivation. This team needs motivation. Like, the motivation again dropped out because they were like just bludgeoning the Wolves, and it was like, all right, well, come out and have our way. And then they were like, the Wolves were ready and the Nuggets were not. And then the crazy thing is that the fourth quarter was essentially the exact opposite of the third quarter as far as scoring is concerned. Like, the Nuggets scored almost as much as the Wolves did in the fourth.
Yeah.
And it was just, they were like, okay, it's time to lock in. Like, I mean, I have said this to you, like, I think that Nikola Jokic at his heart and his soul is still a fat kid. Like,
I can't shake this take.
he just, like, he wants to be lazy. Like, it's not his fault. It's in his nature. He has changed everything in his life, but, like, he is who he is, man. Like, that's who he was in the first place without anybody screaming at him to change.
You hear this about alcoholics a lot, where they're
Yes.
like, I'm not recovered, I'm in recovery.
Yes.
I'm always going to be one drink
Yes.
away from flowing back in. It's like,
Nikola Jokic is 1 year of
meal.
retirement away from going up to 4 or 5 liters of Coca-Cola every day.
it's remarkable discipline, but it's still there.
Look, I think at some point the Wolves run was going to happen. It happened when Denver's guard was down.
Yeah.
I honestly think it might be good
I think it's great
for
that
them.
it happened.
and Malone
I like this.
I'll let you cook in a second here, for them and Malone to look at that in the film and say, that's what happens when we let off for a second.
Also, game 3 is on the road, which means it's inherently more risky.
Right. So you guys know
Yeah.
what energy you have to bring and what happens when you don't.
If they would have coasted for 4 games this series and then run into the Suns second round, I don't think that would be a good thing, heading into that series. Like, they need to know what it looks like in the playoffs when they're not locked in like
Yes.
they should be.
Just to play devil's advocate, I don't think anybody fears the Nuggets. And I'm not saying one series would have made teams fear them, but But do you feel like there's any value to Denver if they didn't have that third quarter and they win 2 games by 30 points? Do you think there's any type of fear factor for, hey, this team's a little different, man?
No. I don't think the Suns or the Clippers would think anything different.
If you beat the Suns and the Clippers, though, resoundingly, then does the fear
then
factor?
it's different.
Okay.
Then it's different. People just don't think Minnesota is anything real. Like,
But they're
the
right.
Timberwolves
They're right
are
about that.
kind of a joke.
By the way, the Clippers already tried the "we don't fear the Nuggets" thing, and then they played the Nuggets, and then I've seen the 8 games that happened since. They fear the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take our first break. On the other side, though, we're going to get into ranking potential threats to the Nuggets in this series. What things are you worried about? We'll rank them all in a game we call Fear Factor.
We're so creative.
Guys, Fubo TV has 140 plus live channels of sports shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device. You can also watch the Nuggets and the Avalanche on Fubo TV. What a concept. You can sign up. There's that QR code right there on the screen. You can also go to FuboTV.com/DNVR. Sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro with that offer. So you get even more special stuff with Fubo Pro. Sign up right now. You can start watching immediately. It's not like you need any cords or boxes or anything. Just sign up, start watching immediately. You can even get a 7-day free trial if you want. You also get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. Nuggets, Avs, the CU Buff spring game. That's in 2 days. That's on ESPN. You can watch that on Fubo TV. NFL Draft, that's coming up on ESPN and NFL Network. You can watch that on Fubo TV. So go to FuboTV.com/DNVR. Sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Also, shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays, they've got awesome sunglasses, and they're more affordable, and they're just as durable. They're just as good as some of those expensive brands that you've probably been wasting money over the years on. Shady Rays, take on the sun with gear that's built to last. They've got you covered. Warm weather ahead. It's a beautiful day out today.
Oh, it's
you
beautiful.
probably need some Shady Rays. There they are. ShadyRays.com.
You'll look better, by the way.
Yeah. Not indicative of how people look.
Use
can
the code
exchange them if
DNVR.
you look like this.
You're going to get 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. ShadyRays.com. Use the code DNVR. 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses.
Right, man. All right, we back. Segment 2, DNVR Nuggets podcast. It's time to find out if fear is a factor for you.
I fear nothing but the cards.
Look at this graphic. Oh my gosh, the tower. And also Vote's face.
This is there's a lot
What's
of
scarier?
concepts.
No,
going on.
there's me falling out of the tower. Oh no, but my head is up somehow. It's a really tough fall.
It's because I'm a fearful, fearful little man. You know?
Oh my
It's a big
god.
world out there.
We're gonna rank now potential threats to the Nuggets, or like things of concern here. And we're gonna start with Jokic's wrist. I will say, man, I want to believe that Jokic is kind of in third gear because that's all that's required. There have been moments where he has gone to the block and he's looked pretty dang good when he's. There's been like little pockets where he's like, "That's right. Just so you know, Rudy, I can score on you."
Yeah.
But I'm not going
Yeah.
to. I'm going to go out here and let Murray score and do all these different things. But there have been pockets. But that being said, we could just be coping here because we're a little concerned that maybe he actually just hurts. Where are you at on your, how big of a concern is this to you, Eric?
Where am I?
He's wearing a tape. He hadn't been wearing tape all year.
Yeah, I think I'm like at a 2. Like I'm not.
We're doing this ranking next time. Just say a lot or a little.
Oh, sorry.
You don't understand.
You're thinking of a
the
different game.
What are
that
the
game's called
odds?
Scale to 1 to 10.
Yeah, do you have a percentage
You
on
might be
it?
thinking of what are the odds. You're not thinking of this game, Fear Factor.
Up or down?
Sell-
It's our first time. It's our first time playing Fear Factor, though, so
not
it's
that worried.
understandable.
Not that worried.
No, not that worried. I mean, like you said, when needed, he was still able to score on Rudy Gobert. He did miss a couple of bunnies and a couple of little like things that you typically expect Jokic to make. But
In each game.
but I also know like when like I was walking home last night and I was like, man, my feet hurt. But then there was a job to do. Get home. I walked right through the pain.
What
It
are we
didn't hobble
talking
me at
about?
all.
Eric is the hero of his own story. Every
Everyone's
time.
the hero
Yeah,
of my own story.
What was the question?
I'm just saying, like, things hurt, but when it matters, you can work through pain.
All right. Okay.
You know, and I needed to get home. I'm a lot like Jokic in many ways. I worked through the pain. He can work through the pain. I'm just honestly though, like, you know, it's like we see when Jamal gets hurt, somehow he gets better. I just think that if it was absolutely required that Jokic went hero mode last night, he would have.
So true. What about you, Wind?
I'm definitely more concerned, and I'm a numbers guy at times.
Don't do it. Don't do it. If I hear one goddamn number.
I mean, Nikola Jokic in 2 games so far in the playoffs is shooting 31%, 4-13 from floater range, 5 to 9 feet. That's the range where he's like historically incredible. I think he's shooting 61% from 5 to 9 feet this season. He's 4-13 so far in 2 games. I mean, he just hasn't had
Great stat, Win.
the typical elite 100th percentile touch that Nikola Jokic usually has. So you've got to think his wrist is affecting him, and you think it would affect him on those types of shots the most. Now, he has made a 3. He has hit some jumpers. His free throw was shaky last night, I thought. So I am concerned. I mean, it definitely is bothering him, I think. And I think we undersell and undertalk about how many injuries he does play through over the course of a regular season, just because he is superhuman and it doesn't affect him like it would a lot of guys. But yeah, I'm a little concerned.
Also, like the passing, he hasn't had like a bunch of crazy one-handed passes. And I don't know, again, if that's just circumstantial, but he has a lot of like wrap passes and stuff that he does all the time, and he just hasn't done them yet.
Yeah, I would say medium concerned in that it's definitely a thing. I think the lack of jump shots are not just the way Minnesota's guarding him. I think there's preference, and then also looking at the lay of the series. What do I really need to do here, you know, in terms of overextending himself with that wrist? I'm medium concerned. I stop at medium because I think we've seen this before, honestly. I think we've seen Jokic play with his wrist, bothering him to this extent, hurting him, however you want to frame it. I still say we saw it in the Clipper series in the bubble, and I think we've seen it since. He can still be dominant. He's going to play through it. He's going to play well.
Yeah, he can still cook Rudy Gobert in the post.
But I don't think
when he really wants to.
That's just it. It's just like a want to.
But there have been months and stretches of his career where I think he could shoot the ball a lot more confidently and comfortably than he can right now.
Yeah.
What about this one? Pick and roll defense for the Nuggets. Pick and roll defense. How concerned are you about that one, Wind?
I mean, I'm moderately concerned. It's the biggest red flag about the Nuggets defense forever. And I mean, it still is. Like, you didn't really get more confident about Nikola Jokic's pick and roll defense by watching him this regular season. You know,
right.
Now in certain matchups in some games, they played up to level of competition. You know, Jokic played up the floor. He was engaged. He was locked in. He had moments, but I mean, the large sample is still pretty discouraging about his overall defense. Look, that's the one way Minnesota, I think, can really hurt Denver in this series. Anthony Edwards in the pick and roll.
And I just feel like they went to this game, you know, for the first time. Like
they did.
Like they kind of, I think it's going to become more and more of a challenge as the series goes on. And we'll see if Denver gets better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, look, I don't think Minnesota can beat Denver, even if they're dominant in that action. Like, if the Anthony Edwards pick and roll works like it worked last night, I still don't think the Timberwolves are coming close to being the Nuggets in that series. They're just not good enough around him. But you're worried about it further down the line in the playoffs for sure.
I do think there's another card up Denver's sleeve, though, right, in terms of, A, they could just get better at defending it with present personnel, but B, Christian Brown, I think, could play more in those situations. You know, I haven't looked at Ryan Blackburn's rotation chart. I don't have it handy, so I'm not going to tell you where or when. But I think on the whole, like, Bruce is too small for Anthony Edwards. Great defender. I really like Bruce in Denver, but that matchup, too small. It's not a great Aaron Gordon matchup. Like, who's the guy? Maybe it's Christian Brown. I just think this roster has a little bit more of the kind of Gary Payton in Golden State thing to it that we haven't seen yet and would be busted out in case of emergency.
Just looking quickly ahead, the team that's running the most pick and rolls right now is the Phoenix Suns.
I was just going to say,
So, I mean, to your point, I do think Denver can use the Timberwolves. I mean, they still need to win a series. Don't make this full practice.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's like, hey, you're going to see a big test in this. Can you do it? get ready for that now. What about foul trouble? Foul trouble's been a storyline for Aaron Gordon in both games, for Michael Porter in the second one. Is this how concerned are you here? And actually, let's rank these. So Jokic's wrist and PNR defense, which one's higher for you guys?
Wrist for me.
PNR.
PNR.
Cool.
I'm gonna say
I'm wrong.
PNR too, just because Denver has a history of it more, whereas Denver's history with Jokic wrist injury has been like not that.
I don't
scary.
think Jokic's wrist is what could be Denver's downfall in the playoffs. I think pick and roll defense could be.
All right,
I guess is how I'd put it.
Foul trouble. Where does it go? Now we have three
Lower
things.
than those two.
Yeah.
Lower than both of them.
Yeah, because we've seen it. It's been a problem. It's been a legit problem for Aaron Gordon, and even Michael Porter Jr. in this series.
Imagine what you must think watching the show right now.
You're like, did a murderer just walk into the room? No, it was just chaos.
Yeah, so there's a dog in here, just so everyone knows. What was I saying?
Just
Yeah, they're
foul
2-0.
trouble.
They're 2-0, and we've seen the foul trouble.
Oh, so it's like as bad as it can be, and it's not.
Yeah, like
who cares?
Porter, Gordon, they've both had to sit. Jeff Green played like 40 minutes last night.
Yeah.
I'm joking, and they're 2-0.
Close.
So.
Exactly. Jokic fouled out game one. Aaron Gordon got in foul
maybe
trouble.
on purpose.
Definitely on purpose. Literally everybody was in foul trouble last night. Last night was a horrifically officiated game. It was so stupid. Anybody that doesn't watch the NBA and then did watch that, you're like, what is this? And then we have to be like, I don't know. You're right. It's stupid. This is a dumb sport. I have no idea.
Do we officially have the dog in us?
Somebody says
This
we have that dog in
podcast
them.
has the dog in it finally. Aaron Gordon foul trouble is concerning.
It's going to happen every game, especially if they have him playing the five, or at least having to be. It happens on Rudy Gobert every single time.
right.
He's just
This matchup is an interesting one to debut Aaron Gordon at backup five against.
Yeah.
Because he's going against
A real
either
center.
Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns, and sometimes both.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the second unit. And it's like, yeah, he's gonna get in foul trouble. Like, there is a ton on Aaron Gordon's shoulders this series. Like, it's been under talked about, I think. Like, he's got so much responsibility. He's holding together the defense on that second unit a lot of times. And he's gotten in foul trouble. Now, I think like Aaron Gordon at the five, that's gonna work way better against the Suns.
oh yeah.
Against the Clippers,
When
who
it's
are way
Bismack,
smaller and
Biyombo,
just
and,
you don't have that talent on the front line of the second unit. But he's got just a lot riding on his minutes right now.
Yeah.
But definitely third on that list of concern level.
One of the most
Fear
underrated
factor.
things that came out of
Get it right.
I think one of the most underrated things that came out of the pressers yesterday was Jokic was asked, and he said this before, but like the playoff intensity of that. And he goes, to be honest, I don't think it's actually that different. And I love this answer because I actually think it's true. And when you
He's
talk
never
to,
told a lie.
and he's never told a lie. And also, when you talk to any of the analytics people that really get into the numbers, they're like, that's the most overstated thing about it. And his point was, we run all the same actions. Like, it's not like we're like doing, now we have a different playbook. They're running all the same stuff. The coverages are the same. The reads are the same. The speed is the same. And I'm telling you, this idea that the playoffs get way more physical, I felt like last night, if that was a regular season officiated game, I would have been like, man, they're calling this so soft for a regular season game. And it was the playoffs.
The narratives and storylines in the playoffs are so funny
Yeah.
because whenever somebody loses game one, 100 times out of 100, it's because we weren't physical enough.
Right. Yeah.
That's just every talking point that's ever emerged from a game one loss. We weren't physical enough. We've got to punch first in game two.
Yeah.
We've got to be the, aggression. We got to be the
aggressor,
aggressors.
yeah.
We weren't fit. Like, that's every coach's talking point every single time they lose a game one. And then you just have like a game two like that. And like Minnesota played a closer game. Were they so much more aggressive than they were in
Right.
game one?
New keyword now,
No.
Wind, after 2 games. Adjustments.
Adjustments.
Yeah,
adjustments.
Next one up, defense on the road. Vote. Something Denver has not done this year. They're about to go on the road.
Yeah, I put this pretty high up there until I see it. Doing it in the playoffs.
Is it above, would you say, all of them?
No. I'm going to put it... you guys talked me into pick and roll defense as 1. Wrist is 2. I'm going to put it at 2 and put wrist to 3.
Okay. There you go.
Whatever.
Fear is a factor for him.
Defense for the Denver Nuggets is the talking point. They have an elite offense. They have an all-time offense. Whenever they're their best, it's when they're locked in on the defensive side, and there are they're switching and they're communicating and they're causing steals and they're getting hands in passing lanes and they're just like truly efforting. So I'm actually not worried about it at all. I think it is going to totally translate. I just think it's.
I can't wait to see. Like,
I just think
I'm
it's a
very
mindset.
excited to see.
I really just
if it
think.
translates.
Yeah, I just think it's a full switch that has been flipped. I just think when they are bad at defense, they're not trying that hard. When they're good at defense, they are trying hard.
I agree.
And I have to think that the playoffs are here, and like just like Jamal Murray, for some reason, he's inconsistent in the regular season. Playoffs come, it's completely different. The defense seems to this point to be the same, except for in that third quarter, which somehow the switch went right back off because they were too comfortably ahead. So I don't know that this team is just all about motivation, and so I see them having it.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards, this will be the last one. Anthony Edwards got it going, 41 points. Where would you put him in terms of concerns now?
Pretty high, just because he's really the only guy on Minnesota I'm concerned with.
Right.
Like, if we're being honest, man, Karl Anthony Towns has kind of been a joke this series.
Well, last game they made the adjustment where I don't think all three players can be good. Anthony Edwards, Gobert, and Towns.
That's a problem.
It is a problem, but he's the one that it turns into Michael Porter. They're like, go stand in the corner. We're going to run pick and roll, and you're just going to be like the floor spacing guy.
Interesting tactic.
But I actually think it's smart because the other option is to tell Anthony Edwards to go be that guy.
I mean,
I'm like, no,
Towns
Anthony
is
Edwards needs to
shooting
be the guy.
30% in this series through 2 games. He's got 9 turnovers and 7 fouls. He's got more turnovers than baskets.
Here's the thing about Ant, though.
He's been a kind of a joke.
Is he gonna? It's been. That's what movies are made of. The thing about Ant, what is he gonna score 50 points? He just,
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, you know
What's
what?
he gonna do? Stab
Yeah,
me?
you're gonna
41
do
last
stab
night.
me. That's kind of my point, though, man. I thought
he
was
is really the only guy I'm scared
Yeah,
of. Like, we saw, I think, a really good Rudy Gobert game last night for what he's going to bring this series.
Yeah, I agree.
Towns, again, I just don't know. Ant is the guy that you look at and you're like, wow, like he can really hurt Denver.
my point. When though is just that Ant can drop 40 on the road and you can win comfortably. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. If given an opportunity to move to Browntown or Carl Towns, choose Browntown.
Good job.
Thanks, bro.
When did you think of that on the walk home?
So good.
Was that the walk home? You're like, hold on, all right, I got that.
my feet
I
were
know.
hurting, but my brain never stopped.
There was a Wolves fan that was like in the comments a while back, a couple games back, that was like, you guys need to put more respect on Kyle Anderson's name. Clearly, you don't watch a lot of Wolves, which, first of all, correct. I watch like maybe 10 Wolves games a year before the playoffs, so that's normal, I think, for analysts in a different market. But number two, I know Kyle Anderson very well. My point with him wasn't that he sucks. I think he's a great player. My point was, if your solution to beating Denver is Kyle Anderson pick and rolls, I'm like, that is not going to outscore the Nuggets. The Nuggets will probably have the best offense in the playoffs. Kyle Anderson, even if he plays above himself, can only do so much. He was 4 of 5 last game. Did it feel like he was dominant?
No, it did not.
No.
And that's my point. He could have gone 9 of 10, and it would have been the same result. I'm just saying, Denver forcing Kyle Anderson to make push shot floaters and pick and roll is like, there's just a cap on that, and it's really low.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
For sure.
and I love Kyle Anderson. It's just
Minnesota's really, their team seems like they're just constantly on like the tipping point, you know,
Dude,
like
well,
one bad call, one like thing that goes against Karl Anthony Towns, and it feels like he could just go like lose himself, you know, like, just like lose control. It's watching live. Vote and I were having a good time,
Dude, Towns and Gobert they're just like, they're loose cannons.
They
out there,
really
man.
are.
They're on the verge of an emotional explosion.
They really are. Yeah.
That Gobert tech, you could see it. I mean, time slowed down for that while we watched that happen. And you're going, no way he's going to get this tech in this moment. But
He like could not
He was
stop.
hot.
dude, he is. I'm telling
was
you,
hot.
who did we compare him to? The bowling guy. Who do you think you are? I am. Where like even when you're talking trash, it's awkward. But that's how he's like. He gets mad and his like movements are
like
so
the guy on the
dorky.
side of
You're
a
like,
highway.
If I was a Timberwolves fan, just like, how could you believe in Karl Anthony Towns? You know,
you can't. You can't,
How
man.
could- yeah.
You can't. The people are clamoring for more orca stories. Should we do that or go to break?
more what?
Orca stories.
maybe like Bray
Let's let's tell 10. Then
Let's
go
tell
to break.
like 10 of them. You guys Google rule of the tongue. It's really a fascinating
No one
story.
Google that. Don't
Google
Google
it.
it.
It's
Your
the rule of
safe
the tongue.
search
It's actually a
on.
really good one. Safe search on. You're like, Adam, my search comes up with different things. I don't
Why
know
don't why don't you Google Fournier?
You know what? Let me Google rule of the tongue. I actually don't know if I've ever. Let me make sure here. Win, take us to break before we get in trouble.
Guys, Volo Sports. We're in a bowling
law of the
league
tongue.
at Volo Sports. We had our first bowling night on Monday. It was great. Great success. The
Eric's pretty good.
Drinks were flowing. D-line, pretty good bowler. I'd say the captain of our team.
Yeah, dude.
If I could put that out there.
Don't tell Spano.
You know what the worst part is that Lindsay took one video of me, and it was me bowling my only gutter ball.
I know.
Put it right online.
I know.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
Is she here?
But yeah, we got these great lime green shirts that we were wearing. It was an awesome night. If you want to get involved, Volo is the largest social sports company in the U.S. We are playing in the Cherry Creek Bowling League on Mondays. If you don't have a team, I think sign up for teams is closed because the league has started, but you can still sign up as a free agent. You know, you can just pop around to teams, a little mid-season acquisition at Volo Sports in their bowling league.
What's Tristan Thompson up to?
You could be our Tristan Thompson.
We'd love
Except
to
for that
have you.
you'll touch a ball.
Well, maybe you won't. We have a pretty stacked team as it
There's
is.
a lot of people on the team.
We got pretty deep rotation as it is. Unlimited pickups and drop-ins and tournaments with the Volo Pass, which you can sign up for. It's a monthly membership program, gives you unlimited access to sports events and social activities every night. So you can sign up for this pass, $20 a month, and you can just drop into different leagues as a free agent. They've got leagues throughout the city in Lodo, Rhino, Uptown, City Park, the Highlands, Sloan's Lake, Cherry Creek. Also, Englewood, Arvada, Aurora, Northfield. Get your Volo Pass and start playing in leagues today. There's a beta version of this Volo Pass. You can get it for $10 with the code DNVR10. www.volosports.com/Denver. Use the code DNVR10 for $10 off the Volo Pass.
Let's go.
All right.
Also, shout out Illegal Pete's. If you want to cater your grad party with Illegal Pete's, catering.illegalpete's.com. If you cater with Illegal Pete's, I guarantee you people will be talking about the food at your grad party.
Not your low, unimpressive GPA.
Yeah. Nobody's going to
phoned
be
in
like
just to-
coming up and congratulating you on graduating. It's going to be like, wow, congratulations on the food.
Yeah, congratulations on the taquitos.
Illegal Pete's catering. Go to catering.illegalpete's.com if you're hosting a grad party, if you're throwing a grad party. This episode of the DNVR Nuggets podcast brought to you by Illegal Pete's.
Yeah, and check out the interview of Illegal Pete that happened yesterday on
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
YouTube. It was fun.
It looked fun.
Dude, it
a
was
fun
awesome.
guy.
Pete's the best, man. The absolute best. We're going to play a little game called Scale of 1 to 10. Scale of 1 to 10.
What are the
How
rules
does
of
this
this
one?
game?
Yeah.
You're going to have to rank things
are we
based on a
using the arrows
scale
for?
of 1 to 10. That's for the last segment.
Oh, that's the next
Yeah,
game.
this is
Isn't
next
this the
game.
tier or is this?
What?
Oh, this is different. Okay.
This is different than tiers. This is
got
scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, fellas, how hard will the Nuggets play in Game 3? How hard will they play?
That's a great question for this.
Ready? 10 being obviously the most hard. Eric says 9. Yeah, hell yeah, Eric.
Wow,
Tell us why we're all wrong.
aligned here pretty much.
We said 8. We're way off.
I think the Nuggets felt a little burn last night. I think that they felt like they were going into the second half and they feeling like pretty invincible. Everything that they were doing was working. It was working really well. And they got punched. They got punched in the mouth. They got reminded of their own mortality in the playoffs, and they responded in kind. They have been at, I would say, an 8 or a 9 this entire series, except that third quarter where they were like at a 2.
Third quarter really, it might have been a 1, man. I honestly think the third quarter
It was
reminded me
like-
of the last month of the
it was
season.
like a Houston Rockets third quarter.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, just let Jalen Green cook. It's
Yeah.
fine." But I just think that they're good, man. I think that they have. I think it feels good to guys like Jamal Murray to be now respected and looked at as a playoff killer. And I just I believe in my heart that the Nuggets are assuming this form of just believing in themselves and being playoff, murderers. So that's
want to believe that so badly.
I mean, you're off by 1. You have an 8.
I'd say you're at like an 8. You're at like an 8.9. I'm at like 8.1.
You've assigned an
7.6.
Yeah,
You rounded up.
You've assigned an 8 minus, and I gave a 9 plus.
I really want to believe like the Nuggets are this.
I love these games.
They're this just like battle tested playoff team, and they're like immune to these down spells and whatnot. Like I think they could lose game 3
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's gonna be the toughest game of the series.
Next one's fun. How close to his apex is Nikola Jokic playing at so far through 2 games? So 10 being his absolute peak best. Oh man, we only have down to 5. So
Yeah, this is the lowest we can go. This is on a 5 to 10
I
scale.
would have said 5 either way, but
Yeah.
he's not a 1, 2, or 3, or 4.
Oh, so you mean like 7 actually?
No, I'm saying, God damn it.
My case for a 6 is that the first half of game 1 was sneaky dominant, like apex
Yeah.
Jokic dominant.
Yeah.
And then all he
That's a
had to
good-
do was play defense from there. Last night's like another A-, I think, from him. But there's like 2 more gears.
Play along with us in the chat, by the way. Where do you see a scale of 1 to 10 with Yoke? What's he been at
Last
so
night
far?
when he cooked Gobert in the post in the first half and then just like ran back down the court smiling with that shit-eating grin.
I love that look on Jokic's face.
That is the reason I'm at a 5.
But it is because he was smiling about Gobert, though, right? He wanted a foul, and he was just like, "Ref, seriously, man?"
He's like, bro, come on.
"This is what we're gonna do."
Come on.
What? All right. Here's another question. I guess a little bit different. The best game of the series for Jokic. What will he be? Same question. 10 being his apex.
Oh, of this series?
Wait,
this
say it
series.
again. I'm sorry.
So Jokic so far has been like a 5, but what will his best game of the series be on his own personal scale?
It's tough. Oh, 8.
Eric went 6. I thought I was too low at 7. You just don't think he's gonna ever turn it on in this round.
I don't think
This
that
is not a big post-up series for him, as he has said.
This is going to be a series where it's going to feature the outside threats more than it is Jokic. He's going to just kind of facilitate. He's very comfortable playing the role he's playing, and
He loves
it's
the role
been
he's playing
very,
right now.
very successful to this point. So
Yeah.
I don't, unless it's he's absolutely forced to change how he's playing, and even when if he is, like, he still like won't for like he just. It's very labor intensive for him to go into the post and make 15 spins. Like, he scores every time, but it's better to just kick it out to MPJ and have him knock down a 3. Like, I just don't think it's going to be required of him.
How clutch of a player is Michael Porter Jr.?
Oh, man. This is a really good question.
Wow.
I agree with you, Marius.
I'm going to go 9.
Oh! He just wanted to talk.
What evidence? My question is, what evidence do we have that he's not clutch?
It's a great take.
We have not the Mike moment.
But we don't maybe have enough to bump it above a 7.
There's some bad playoff series. I think he was hurt, but there's like the Suns one wasn't
when he
great.
was a rookie.
Hey, fair counter. Fair counter.
I mean, last night he was absolutely clutch.
Oh, unbelievable,
Nikola
man.
Jokic said, quote, I told him that was the reason we won the game.
He
Speaking
told him
about
the
his
truth.
8-0 run to begin the fourth.
Yoke doesn't lie.
Yeah. I mean, I will need to see him fold. I will need to see this version of Michael Porter like fold in the clutch to think he's not clutch.
He really might be a clutch player, and if so, man, like that is just such a. It's just so big to have 3 guys that you're like they're
thing
all
is-
going to hit their shots in the fourth.
Even before he really knew how to play basketball in Denver, his 4 biggest highlights were just clutch playoff jumpers.
Michael Porter in the locker room last night, he was talking about like not shooting the whole game and then shooting it 4 times or 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row to start the fourth. And like if he was thinking about, just that he wasn't warm or like he hadn't shot a whole lot, and he was like, nah, I just shot it. I didn't think about it.
It is
Other than the voice in my head that told me to shoot it.
dude, it is amazing. The Nuggets get to just choose their preference on how they win a game.
Right.
Like, what
Jokic
would-
in particular
what-
right now is.
He's like, what would be coolest?
Yeah.
But I really don't think MPJ thinks like that. I just think he's like, oh, I'm open.
Yeah.
I don't. Is there 9 minutes left in the first quarter or like 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter? I'm open. I'm just going to shoot it.
Here's the thing, though. Malone went to him with the bench, and We've been calling for it a lot on this show.
Yeah.
We want to see it. He went to it, I think, a little bit out of necessity because I think he just was nervous with the third quarter, so left Jamal in there. It didn't work. And then so it's like, well, I got to go to Mike now with the bench. And it worked beautifully. I hope we see more of it, man.
And I've got quick add-on to that and a tiny bone to pick with Bruce Brown. Dude, give Mike the rock. Mike.
So this isn't a tiny thing. I think it's kind of a thing.
Mike went on that 8-0 run, and he was open like 3 times in the corner, and Bruce didn't hit him. One time it was to take a step back 3 off the dribble. Do you guys remember when Bruce yelled at Mike for missing an open pass when Mike was cooking in March? I'm just saying, dude. The point actually being, not just to defend Mike, but to the point of the question, when he's with that unit, when he is cooking, give him the rock.
Yeah. He gets in a zone like Murray where I'm like, he can take bad shots until he misses one. Just let him do it.
Well,
I don't
he was
think
on the
he'll miss
floor
one.
with that lineup, and it was like Bruce, Jeff, KCP, AG, and Michael Porter. And I think I tweeted, like, the best shot the bench is going to get every possession is just Michael Porter Jr. shooting whatever.
Man, I'm going to throw a little at Malone, too, though, because he ran my least favorite play in the Denver Nuggets playbook, that X-out play where you get Jeff Green setting a ball screen and then fading to the block for a post-up.
Oh, the Jeff Green ISO.
Yeah, the Jeff Green ISO play, as I call it, at the exact moment that Michael Porter was on an 8-0 run. It was an 8-0 run, Michael Porter, and Malone goes, you know what?
Adam, you got to keep everybody involved.
Yeah, like, no, you don't. Just
No, you don't. Give
I'll tell
Mike
you,
the rock.
when Jokic is orchestrating it by himself, he calls the Michael Porter number. He's like, let's keep doing this until the well runs dry. All right, last one. Malone, I just talked about. But Michael Malone's game plans and rotations have been on point. Eight.
All right, pretty much
I
in
went high. Yeah, we all pretty much agree. I was going to go 8. I got a little spicy. I think Michael Malone has had a great game plan. The team has looked locked in. They've looked prepared.
Yep.
They look like they know what they're supposed to be doing. The only thing I have against what he's done so far, I do think that he could have probably played Christian Brown a few more minutes in this last game. The game got out of hand, and I think he just panicked about that, so didn't bring him back later in the game. But you need to find a little bit of minutes, I think. When you're up 2-0, keep the minute totals low. And last game, I just thought they got a little bit higher than I would have liked, and there was going to what is essentially a 7.5-man rotation. I just don't think it called for that. So that's the only thing I have to say. Now, they are up 2-0, and maybe if you open it up, it costs you a game. But nonetheless, I do think, again, it's a 9, so it's almost perfect. But that's the one thing I would look at and say, just find a few minutes here for other guys.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from how Michael Malone has like managed this series is that his guys have been absolutely locked in.
Yep.
And like that's been the most important coaching aspect of this series. They've been dialed in, they've been locked into the game plan, they've been serious, they've been focused, and like as a coach, that's your number one priority. There were some discouraging trends last game, I think. Like the reliance on Jeff Green, even though Jeff Green I think has been better than I expected him to be so far this series.
Yeah, I agree.
More minutes for Christian Brown on Anthony Edwards, I think will be good. It will be interesting to see like what happens at backup center. I think that's like a storyline to keep in mind going forward in the playoffs. But overall, I've been pretty happy with how Michael Malone has coached this series so far.
All right, let's take a break because we got to get to the other side. We have to get to a little around the association. Actually, Stonk Report. Around the association
tier?
edition.
What are the odds?
Yeah, no, it's what
Please
are the
not
odds?
the tier
around-
graphic. Guys, Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Check out the Mile High City Golden Ale from Breck Brew. If you're watching Nuggets game, you need that beer by your side. If you don't know where to get Breckenridge Brewery, you can get it at a lot of different places. You can get it at the DNVR bar.
Hell yeah,
if you're
you can.
local, stop in. We got Breck Brew on tap every single day. If you're not local, it's okay. Check out the Breck Brew beer locator, breckbrew.com, liquor store, grocery store, wherever you are, you can find Breck Brew. Just type in your zip code, it will show you where it is. Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Also at DraftKings, ton to bet on this week. We got the NBA playoffs going, of course. Big hoops action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Plus, everybody can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every single day during the NBA playoffs. Make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Sign up with code DNVR. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code DNVR. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Also, got to throw out a DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. And I'm going to go to the line for Game 3 of Nuggets Timberwolves.
All right, let's go.
Have you guys seen the line?
Nope,
What is it? Oh, hold on. I'll say Nuggets minus
Guess the
one.
line. Yeah.
I would say Nuggets minus 3.
Yeah, I think
4.5.
that was right.
You're underselling Minnesota. Nuggets minus 2.5.
Well, that's not too
It
far.
was up
off.
by a half point.
That's a lot in the
It's
gambling
like
industry.
8-9 thing all
It
over.
can
again.
make or break your night.
You win by if you go over though. It's like Price is Right. So I was closest. Good job, Adam.
I just want. You know what? Screw this.
I'm going to take the Nuggets minus 2.5.
Yeah, let's go.
DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the
Cool.
week.
Man.
I do think this could be the one they dropped though. If I have them in 5, I think so.
Right. I have them in 5-2.
It could be
this
this
could be
one.
the one they lose.
All right, let's
We'll
do a
see.
little around the association here. Stonk Report edition. You guys have your arrows right here, and we got to go quickly because the soccer guys have the GM of the Rapids in studio today, so we got to get out of here a little bit
That's
quickly.
pretty rad.
We got 4 minutes to run through every single team right now.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. Let's start with the Phoenix Suns. And this is really like your concern about them ranking. Are you more or less concerned about them than you were before? Nope. Shut up, Win. Shut up, Win. Shut up, Win. You know, look at Win. More or less than you were coming in. Everybody's a little bit less.
You got to be, I feel like.
Yeah, they have been.
I mean, they dropped the game.
All right. Here's the thing.
Home game.
Here's the thing. So Kawhi Leonard's out tonight. I am not just trolling. I'm making a true statement. In the last 3 years, counting this one, the Phoenix Suns have faced exactly 2 healthy teams who were not missing a starter. The Dallas Mavericks, who embarrassed them, and the Milwaukee Bucks, who beat them in the finals. They have only beat teams that are handicapped, and now Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are out. I'm sick to my stomach.
We're going to learn a lot about the fabric of the Phoenix Suns. I feel
Against
like.
Denver. Against Denver is when they're really going to test the metal, man. It's going to be unbelievable.
Oh, I can't wait.
The Clippers.
Oh, come on, man. With today's news, come on.
Well, I guess, yeah, factoring
Come
in.
on.
It does depend on how you factor in today's news.
I know, but
you have to.
Kawhi Leonard, like I
with
haven't
Wind.
watched both those Suns Clippers games entirely, but I've watched a little of them. Kawhi Leonard is scary, dude. Like he is back in that mode where you're like, holy shit,
Harrison,
Kawhi Leonard.
we're 3 games in. The playoffs.
He's already out.
We're 3 games in.
Well, we're actually only 2 games in.
Yeah, he's missing game 3. Like you're right about how well he played, but this is why.
Yeah,
And where's Paul George right now?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, come on.
all right.
he's ramping up. I
the
think.
Los Angeles Lakers.
He's hosting a podcast.
Lakers.
I don't know. man.
I'd have to go up
a
too.
little bit.
I'd have to go up too.
cheating.
Slightly, tiny
same.
bit.
Dude, here's what I know is that we've seen the Los Angeles Lakers in now 4 games that are playoff worthy. Awful,
Good.
good,
Awful,
awful,
good.
fine.
Yeah, you're right,
It's
man.
probably going to continue that way.
I think you're right, actually. This is the best take.
Yeah, like I'm him. Not next game. I'm part-time him.
All right, the Memphis Grizzlies. We got to go quick here.
Oh, man. Poor Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm with you guys.
They're nothing.
They're not that scary. And they're just so short-handed. You really
Yeah.
see it. Now Jaws down. Like Sacramento Kings.
Come
Dude,
on,
come
baby.
on. Nobody's stock is higher in
Come on.
the entire playoffs.
Light the
Nobody's stock is
beam.
higher
I
right
cannot
now.
wait. I hope we somehow match up against them and Light the Beam goes from cute thing to thing we absolutely fucking detest.
It's actually kind of corny if you
Yeah,
think
it's
about
actually
it.
so dumb. Those
Like,
fans-
you guys all get on my level. You're like, oh, what were we excited about? It's a flashlight.
The Golden State Warriors. AKA the modern.
I'm super high on them right now.
Yeah, I know it's like hard to be, isn't it? Yeah, they kind of suck. They look like they kept calling the season the Last Dance. You know, they kept doing it. They're really the 2011 Lakers. They're going outside.
Dude, I know.
Man.
It turns. They're like, this is the last dance. They're like, right now, they're like, no, last year.
Last year's dance.
Yeah, we won.
And then is that it? That's the entire Western Conference. So we just went through it.
Couple super chats real quick.
Oh yeah,
probably
2
skip
super chats.
these.
Let's eat these. Yeah, we could, but we're out of time.
The boy's dad,
No,
a
seriously,
question
we
for
don't
the
need to
yeah.
talk
Win
about
doesn't
the
want to
East.
do
I
the
don't like
East.
the East.
Come on. The boy's dad, a question for the distinguished panel. Is that us? Attending the CU spring game, so only have time for one Nuggets game at the bar this weekend. Which one?
Friday night. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Tomorrow is gonna
Friday.
be. Hey guys, get out to the bar, man. Get out to the bar. It's gonna be a good time. Friday night vibes, and I'm telling you, we have the Rakia. I think he's making our bar manager Chandler making Rakia half off an hour before the game. So you have 1 hour to get in and drink a bunch of half
bar's
price
gonna be
Rakia.
Jesus.
Lit.
That's
Isn't
like
that cool?
Nickel
And
beer
then,
night.
and
What are
then
we
you
doing?
can rewatch the game tomorrow, the next day, to find out what happened.
Bryce Hartman, $5 super chat. D-line, let's get some tanks in the DNVR locker and make it snappy, Eric.
Man, you know who has some good guns?
Here's
Bryce.
here's the worry is that I'll make them and then hosts will wear them on the air with no shirt underneath.
You know I will. You know it.
You know what? I'm with D-line on this now that he frames it that way.
Actually, you know what?
Will you make some Subos?
You know-
Will you make some DNVR Subos?
Please, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'll just get a crayon and an old sleeping bag. The thing is like I've tried to make tank tops and things for the last 3 years, but like the supply chain's a real thing. Like I haven't been able to get them.
Yeah.
So I will try again. Yes.
They're really comfortable, dude.
What
Jason
trash?
Abraham, I feel obligated to report that I'm driving on NJ 295 right now. Well, Jesus, dude. I mean, while you're super chatting.
Is that New Jersey?
morning.
Not
And just-
familiar with the acronym.
And he just came across roadside billboards of Joel Embiid and the words MVP.
Thank you, Jason. Don't text and drive.
He says whack sheet.
Whack shit.
Whack shit.
Yeah, he's right. It is whack. I don't miss the Northeast.
Yeah, but also, you know what? Congrats to the 76ers for paying for billboards. Something I'd love the Nuggets to do. Like, I would love to look around the city and
There's
notice.
a couple.
You
Are
would
there?
not know the Nuggets are in the playoffs. If you took a flight in,
Yeah.
Everybody wants it, too.
I
is
saw
the
an Aaron
weirdest
thing.
Gordon billboard somebody posted on Twitter the other day. I saw it.
No, there you go. All right, hit that outro music for us, Kale. Porg Smith in the building for our Rapids guy. So if you're into soccer at all, you want to check it out, the GM. He's right here. And he's a hilarious guy. He's a good guy, man.
Is he more Tim Conley or Calvin Booth?
Way more Tim Conley. He
Nice.
might be more Tim Conley than Tim Conley.
Pour the
Yeah.
Rakia.
dude, let's hang out. Yeah, what are we doing?
I think it's more of a Guinness for our guy Porg.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Tomorrow we're going to be back, all of us in studio tomorrow. We got the watch along. If you've missed that, those are a lot of fun. But more importantly, just come to the bar, man. Come hang out with us
Well,
in
I'll
person.
be in Minnesota, so have a good night.
Oh, that's right. Win will be on the road.
He'll be at
Enjoy-
the Mall of America.
Oh man, enjoy that
Yeah.
trip out there.
Roller
Packing a
coaster.
jacket.
See you, buddy.